Hello, it's Friday, the end of week 3 of our spring term, and I bring you my latest news update from my little personal recording studio up here in one of the science labs. This is where I do my homeschooling for my 11 set 2. I'd like you for a minute to think about being a checkout supervisor, and you've been working in that role for a number of years and you are highly skilled. You are familiar with the tills. You're familiar with the little conveyor belt that sends the items along. You're absolutely spot on with the beeping machine, and you definitely know how to take money from the customers using the automated systems, and you can reward them on their loyalty cards for the points they receive. The supermarket's happy because the customers have got speedy service, they're charged the accurate amount of money, and they also know which items are flying out of the supermarket doors. And then overnight you walk into the supermarket and find that all of that familiarity has gone. The tills have gone, the beeping machine, the little conveyor belts, the card payments, but you're still expected to work in exactly the same way, to give the customers the same level of service, speedy, to charge them accurately, and for the supermarket to know which items are still flying out of their doors. Imagine the stress and anxiety you would be under as a worker, having to find brand new ways of working and do that very, very quickly. For me, that has been education over the last 9 months. Teachers have honed their skills over many years, working with students in classrooms in front of them. And overnight, they've had to react and find ways to do an effective homeschooling provision, which is totally new territory. Why am I telling you all this? Because for me in my lifetime there's been one absolute universal given, that there's a commonality between adults and children. Both feed off praise and encouragement. So I'm taking this opportunity to thank parents and carers once again who've taken the time out of their busy days to give those words of encouragement and praise, even when we know it's not perfect. We know that. But it recognises the staff are doing their best to try and give students the very best possible education whilst they're learning from home. So as a head of school, I can tell you we still are as a community on the same page. We want to give the children that we serve the very best education that we can, even in these difficult circumstances. So on the board behind me is an example of some of the comments that have come in, and you need to know that we share those widely with the staff as part of our daily briefings, because I know they feed off the motivational comments that come in, and it inspires them just to learn that little bit more, to make those extra steps and take risks to improve our homeschooling provision. So thank you. Today, so you don't have to listen to me for the entire blog, I've got some special guests who are going to give you some of the updates that we've made in terms of homeschooling provision. And they partly based on what we're doing anyway as a school, but also we are listening to the feedback we're getting from parents and responding to that where we can.
Hi, I'm Amy Williams. I'm the assistant head here in the Kings with responsibility for teaching and learning. Today I'd like to take the opportunity to give you some updates with where we are with the home learning provision. So in the first instance, I'd like to direct you to the school website under the tab of Students Homeschooling. Here, if you scroll down to step 3, a structured working week, you will find 2 revised timetables. The first for Key Stage 3 and the second for Key Stage 4. We have made 4 distinct changes to these timetables, which we'd like to inform you about. Number 1. Staff will be setting work in accordance to these timetables, so they'll no longer be bulk uploading work on a Monday morning. Your child will receive the work on the day that they need to complete it. Number 2, you will see at the end of each day that an opportunity has been given for your child to upload their work to Reduc. Number 3, staff have acknowledged that students need more time to complete their work. Therefore, this is reflected in the size of the tasks that they are setting. And number 4, if a child does not complete a piece of work, but you know that they have worked to the best of their ability, this is not a problem. What we ask from parents is that you sign that piece of work and then allow your child to submit it. When your teacher comes to mark the work, this will be acknowledged and reflected in the final mark.
Okay, I'm back in the room. I just want to draw your attention to 2 other things on the homeschooling page. Firstly, you'll notice on the schedules for the week for both Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4, we have put a slot for reading for pleasure. That is really important, and this infographic here tells you why. Over on the left here, we've got the impact of a student who reads for 20 minutes a day, and they build over the course of a year a vocabulary of 1,800,000 words on average. A student who reads for 5 minutes a day builds up a vocabulary of 282,000 words, and a student only reads for about 1 minute a day builds up 8,000 words in their vocabulary. So there's a huge difference between reading for pleasure and not. So do give your child that opportunity and encourage it, that they put their materials down, pick up a book and do a bit of reading. It's also a bit of relaxed time for them as well, away from a screen and away from work. There will be coming online onto the school homeschooling page an app that we're purchasing, which will give us access to over 1,500 virtual books. And I know Ms. Warner's done a bit of research around the kind of titles that students are interested in, and we'll make a point of targeting pupils to those particular types of novel. The next thing I'd like to draw your attention to, again on the homeschooling page, is this little satchel over here around additional qualifications. You'll notice on Friday there is an enrichment time at the end of the day. So if you go into the satchel, there are 2 particular things I'd like to draw your attention to. Eton X are free courses, mainly for years 10, 11, 12 and 13. They're provided by Eton College. They are free and they are really worthwhile looking at in terms of enrichment. The other thing is we have found that there are some free Open University courses. Now, it's not what you think it is. Staff have been able to look at those courses and see whether they provide an opportunity to enrich and deepen students' learning in relation to their GCSE courses. So they are aimed at years 10 and 11. And if you want to do some enrichment or get your child to just learn that a little bit deeper on something. So there's an example here, an introduction to geology. It's a 12 hours course. They get a certificate to say they've completed the course, but the key thing is for me, it's enrichment, it deepens their learning, so it isn't a wasted opportunity. And again, it's a break from the schedule of the timetable, something a little bit different in terms of a learning focus.
We understand there's a common perception that live lessons are the gold standard. As a school, we set out to adopt a blended learning approach. We want you to have confidence in this approach because it matches with current research. I would like now to share with you the key findings from the Education Endowment Foundation, who say that 1, teaching quality is more important than how the lessons are delivered. Number 2, supporting pupils to work independently can improve learning outcomes. And number 3, different approaches to remote learning suit different tasks and types of content. With this in mind, I'd now like to share with you some stats based on the lessons that have been set over the last few days. You can see from these statistics that we are delivering on our commitment to blended learning, and this will continue to grow and develop over the coming weeks.
Thank you, Miss Williams. Hello, everyone. I hope you're staying safe out there and you're all keeping well. I'm here to talk to you about some incentives and rewards that we are putting in place during this period of remote learning. The first reward that we are going to launch is the WOW reward. Now this stands for the Weekly Outstanding Worker, and is going to be headed up by our fantastic heads of year. How it will work is that each week, each member of staff will nominate just one student who they feel has gone above and beyond in their studies, who has sent in fantastic pieces of work and is really pushing themselves to make outstanding steps of progress. At the end of the week, we will add up in that year group who has had the most nominations, and they will win the WOW Award and will receive a £10 Amazon voucher through the post and a certificate as well. The second reward that we have is the Track It Like Champion. Even during this period of remote learning, we are still actively seeking to reward students for those behaviours that we value. That could be for good manners, for sending in a really polite email to the member of staff, or for independence, for actively seeking to find out if they are stuck on a piece of work, what it is that they need to do to move forwards. At the end of this half term, what we will do is take the top 5 people in each year group with the most Track It points and send them home a £10 Amazon voucher and a certificate as well. So there's a lot to be gained there. The last reward that we are going to give out is the Chapter Champions. What we are going to do at the end of this half term is look which chapter in each year group has done and has achieved the most Track It points across the school. What we're going to do with these guys is give an experience reward rather than a monetary value reward, and that will be kept for when we can do that. So it could be doing Zorb football or a similar experience or a trip when we're allowed to, and we'll keep those saved for the future. So really it's over to you guys as chapters now to put all that into place and to make sure that you and your chapter are the chapter champions. Take care, guys. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. Wilson.
Okay, so quite a long blog this week, but I hope you found all the information that's been shared with you useful. And we'll continue to develop our homeschooling provision as we go forwards and react to things that we need to do to continue to improve it. But it looks like with all those rewards that are available, there's lots to play for in terms of submitting great pieces of work. On that note, staff will also continue to nominate pupils for a Meet the Headteacher award. It won't be in person, I'm afraid, until you come back, but certificates will still be produced. So you may get one of these in the post for some outstanding work across a range of subjects. I do want to give one shout out, which is to Layla Ridgway and family. That's the first one that's going out. And that's because they, as a family group, that was Layla, her brother and dad, did a fantastic interview focused around history. And it was a pleasure to watch that video. So Layla, well done, and well done for getting the rest of the family involved. Finally, for me, you can probably guess it's the one thing that you all need to do before you go to sleep tonight, and that is to have a look at the gallery, which we'll post on Facebook. It's already on the school website under the About Us tab. If you drop down, you'll see the gallery for this month. I'm really proud to say we have over 90 different students who are featuring in the gallery, the first one for this year, demonstrating that despite the limitations we have with homeschooling, they're able to still produce really outstanding pieces of work. So, last thing you do tonight, have a look at the gallery. It goes on for about 15-20 minutes, but that's because there's so much great work in there. So do have a look. You may find your child has got a position in the gallery. So take care, and I will speak to you again soon.